I read a piece from you recently where you said the real reason people cheat isn't always about what we assume. It's not just about lust or boredom or one too many margaritas. It's about something far more unsettling and sad, a sense of deadness in the relationship. What's deadness?
What is deadness? Complacency, neglect, estrangement, lack of laughter, lack of play, lack of curiosity. Management Inc., 99% of the time. Criticism, indifference. If I'm here or if I'm not here, does it make a difference? Does it matter? Except you may not want to be alone, but that doesn't mean you really want to be with me. All of these are expressions of deadness, lifelessness, loss of vitality, loss of vibrancy, loss of imagination. It's a lot of things that deadness. I mean, interestingly, and I wrote a whole book on infidelity after 10 years of studying this state of affairs. And the one word that I heard all over the world when people would talk about their affairs, and there's a ton of different kinds of affairs, and I'm in no way romanticizing, nor approving, nor condoning, nor encouraging. Just want to put that out there before I even say a word. But people just said, I felt alive. And the truth of a therapist office is that we don't work with the majority of the people we meet are not chronic philanderers, nor sexual addicts, nor narcissistic pricks. We see people who have been or narcissistic prickettes, if you want, on the other side, it doesn't matter. But what we see is people who've often lived, rather committed monogamous lives for decades, 10, 25 years. And then one day they cross a line that they never thought that they would cross themselves. And so for a glimmer of what? Why would people try to risk losing everything they worked for so long and so hard? For what? And that's when I began to think there's more here. What is this deadness that people are referring to that would make people act out acts of exuberant defiance to the point of really losing their pants and skirts, whatever. This is not a gendered story at all. And so I got very, very interested in what are relational betrayals and how do we address them, and how do we create an approach that is more human and more helpful than the polarizing. And you're going to hear that theme from me all the time. It's like it's not difficult to yell at each other.
That's a great point. It's very difficult to be patient with each other, though, to be understanding, to take a little bit of time, to take a breath before you respond. That's much more difficult.
Yes, to tolerate the other person's pain, a lot of things. To really, you asked me, you opened the conversation by saying, why do some couples succeed and why don't they? And what is the fundamental incompatibility? I think the most profound incompatibility is the ability to live with an other. Difference. Much of relationships is managing difference. An other person who stands there, sees the same thing as you, and has a very different experience of it. How can that be? And the ability to really be, and then be curious about this person who is other, different, not you, not an extension of you, not there to make you feel good about you, just is whoever they are. And how do you come to accept that? It's called differentiation. In a relationship, that they perceive, experience, respond to the same situation differently, and that will not be threatening to you.
What are the early signs of deadness, or what are the ones that maybe people,
recognize? There's one that I often think is an interesting one, right? You go, you have dinner with a bunch of friends, you talk, your partner starts talking about the movie they saw, the music they listened to, the book they read, and you have no idea who's talking. You know none of it. And especially these days, it's in the computer, it's in the phone. You don't even see a book on the table. So, or not even a Netflix, when you used to get a cassette. Something, culture was visible. Now it's like, so, but they talk and they have interesting things to say and people listen to them. And then you go into the car and it's like, who's going to the supermarket tomorrow morning? Or who's picking up Joey? Or did you call your mom? Or like nothing. And you just say, why don't you continue the conversation that made this person actually interesting to you?
You were
Curiosity.
alive there, but you're dead here.
Yes, curiosity is erotic. When I talk about erotic, I'm not talking about sex and turn ons and excitement. I'm talking about a fundamental sense of aliveness. You can have sex and feel absolutely nothing. Women have done that for centuries. It's not, the act itself is not, doesn't tell you anything about the experience. So it's really, how do people feel alive? And that means you can do very little and feel a lot. Just because you're imagining, because the kiss that you imagine giving, as Proust says, is as powerful as the actual kiss. Just use your imagination. So what is deadness is when people have a kind of nothing to say to each other, don't engage with each other. It doesn't have to be conversation, but something that says, I want to reach out to you on the other side of the bridge, like knock knock, who's there?
I've seen that in relationships, my friends' relationships, where they've turned up to dinner and they are one person when their partner's around and they're another person when their partner's not there. Even the presence of their partner at dinner, and maybe part of it is that sense that, God, if I let myself loose and become my true self with my friends in the presence of this other person, they're going to feel like they're going to know that there's something up. They're going to know that I don't feel that excited to speak to them, that I'm not that curious about them, that I have these thoughts and this level of energy that I just struggle to bring to this relationship. So I guess given that those are the early warning signs.
So I sometimes say to people, if you brought 10% of the creative imagination, or if people brought 10% of the creative imagination that they bring to their affairs into their primary relationships, their life would be very different. It's very interesting how people become lazy.
Is that a conscious choice? Is that something that people can consciously step in to do, or is passion something which is bottom up and it's emergent and it sort of comes out of you?
No, because love is a verb that you have. It's not a permanent state of enthusiasm. you practice it. This is an Eric Fromm idea. It's not. That wasn't the original thing of that. It's like you. It's a verb. You conjugate it in multiple tenses, and all the time you do things that express this. If I play a sport, if you play a sport, it comes with a whole ritual. You get what sport do you do? What's your thing?
Cricket, like a good British guy.
Yes. So you get your stick, you get you have your clothes, there's a whole ritual that says, I'm going to play, and nobody says it should be spontaneous. It should be passionate and just kind of sweep you. It's a very interesting kind of way that we have about thinking that there is a surge, there is a force. It feels like you're fearless in those moments and you're ready to to embrace life with a vengeance kind of thing. But truth is that I often have said to people, the person who comes home to your partner, to your spouse, is absolutely not the person who is the other one is meeting. And now you want to tell me that your wife is boring or your husband is boring? I mean, seriously, you are boring too.
Well, they were interesting enough to be able to get this person to sleep with them.
So it's I think we could have 2 hours only on the subject of infidelity, because it's a very powerful and painful and destructive and also repairing experience in people's lives. I, interestingly, after having spent 4 decades, pretty much, researching couples and families, I began to think about other pairs. I got interested in other forms of partnerships, friendship. I'm deeply interested in friendship these days. I'm interested in creative partners. I'm interested in co-founders. I'm interested in parents and adult children. I'm interested in the concept itself of pairs, because pairs are rarely just two. There's often a third one lurking somewhere. The third one can be the previous manager. It can be the parent. It can be, it's not just in the concept of infidelity. Do you have thirds?
This episode is brought to you by Element. Summer hits different when you're actually hydrated. That tired, foggy, muscle crampy feeling most people chalk up to heat or exhaustion, it might be electrolytes, and plain water alone won't fix it, which is why Element is such a game changer. It's a zero sugar electrolyte drink mixed with sodium, potassium, and magnesium in the exact ratio your body needs. No sugar, no food dyes, no artificial junk. And this summer they've dropped something new, lemonade salt. It's like a lemon popsicle grew up, got its life together, and started supporting your adrenal system and your hydration. And best of all, there's a no questions asked refund policy. So you can buy it, try it for as long as you want, and if you don't like it, they'll give you your money back and you don't even need to return the box. That's how confident they are that you'll love it. Plus, they offer free shipping in the US. Right now, you can get a free sample pack of all 8 flavors with your first box by going to the link in the description below or heading to drinklmnt.com/modernwisdom. That's drinklmnt.com/modernwisdom. Would you look at that? Clip is already over, but if you want more, don't be sad. The full episode is available right here. Go on.